Welcome to Small Biz Matters, everyone, the program where you spend time working on your business rather than in it. And in fact, we are in the middle of a series of 5 interviews with Nikki White, talking all about the essential key elements to business growth. Now, we do talk about specifics on the program. We talk about strategies. We talk about things that you can check off a list all the time on Small Biz Matters. But I thought it was a good opportunity to take a step back and reinvestigate the big picture and talking about things that businesses don't necessarily want to talk about, Nikki.
Yes.
Things that they're not comfortable with. Just give us a quick rundown about where it is that you come from and why it is that you're an expert in your field.
Okay, so for those who haven't listened to the other shows, I have been in business for 10 years in small business. I used to run a virtual assistant business. Prior to that, I was always an EA or PA in corporate land. And for the last 6 years, I've been working in the wellness industry, helping practitioners on the business side of their business.
So all the things that we're getting a lot for these programs, because all those little secrets that you give to your clients, you're actually giving to us here on Small Biz Matters. So thank you.
You're very welcome. And it's also important to point out that just not wellness people can use these tips. So, everybody can use what I'm talking about. It's not just that industry.
Exactly. But one of the things we talk about in Small Biz Matters is it's very important to specialise.
Yes.
Because then you really get to know your market really well, as I'm sure you do. So we've talked about a couple of other things each of the programs. We, in the first show, talked about implementation, and the second show we talked about the broad notion of what it means to be working on your business, not in your business, and allowing yourself time to be doing that and scheduling in the time and some good time management skills. I really loved your 1 month program, 1 month plan to really work it out, and starting with the personal side. That was some really great tips there. So again, guys, if you've missed that show, that was absolutely fantastic. Jump onto the Boyd Office Management Services blogs and podcast page and download that. Not to say that we're not doing things chronologically. We're dipping in and out.
We are dipping in and out.
Indeed. So let's talk today about investment. And when we say the word investment, of course, lots of people would jump down the path of dollar signs and, oh my God, I have to get out a bank loan and I have to take out money to spend money. I don't like spending money on my business. I'm already spending so much time on my business. But why is investment so important for business growth?
Huge, because you cannot grow if you're not going to invest into your business. I just think, and people don't see spending money on their business as an investment. I think that's the big mindset shift that needs to happen. I think that if they're going to go and do a course or a program or whatever it is that they're going to do, they actually need to look at that as an investment. So when they're looking at that, like, what am I going to get out of this back into my business? So let's, for instance, say that you're going to learn a new skill in your craft. Is that going to bring in more clients? Like, are you going to learn a new technique that is going to open you up to a new market? Or have you now learned a skill in how to market your business, which is going to bring more clients in? So thinking about, well, okay, if I'm going to go and invest $500 in something, what's my return on my investment?
And which aspect of my business is going to grow? And that comes back to what you were talking in the first show about implementation. Don't just go to these things and expect things to just absorb into your mind and then organically
because then
happen.
It is a waste of money and then it is a cost to your business. So at the moment, the mindset of the small business owner, when we're looking at courses or whatever it is, it's a cost to their business. Whereas they need to shift that mindset into, this is my investment into making my business grow. But that also comes back to implementation, that you actually have to implement what you learned at the course.
And it's a way of thinking of things, we talk about cost of sales versus expenses.
Yes.
So when I say to people, your insurance, well, that's an expense because I'm not going to get any more clients because I've got a specific type of insurance which is protecting me, for instance. But how about we shift our way of thinking, and instead of looking at education as an expense, it's actually a cost of sale.
Absolutely.
By taking that piece of education, by investing that time and money into a particular program, particularly if you're upskilling, that's a cost of sale to grow a particular client base. You wouldn't order a courier, for instance, and pass on that to the client. You've got to take the investment of education and you're going to upskill and you're going to pass that on to the client.
Absolutely.
And that's a good opportunity then to go, hey, well, I've just joined a professional organisation. I've been attending 12 months worth of educational seminars. I've got my CPD credits. I've learned a new piece of software which is important for my business growth. Well, now I can feel confident in putting my prices up.
Absolutely.
And that's part of, valuing your own time too.
And that's a big thing as well. I think, if we're talking money today, that's a massive lack in small business owners, is not charging the right amount of money. Firstly, not understanding what a cost of sale is. And I think, do you want to expand on what that is? And then I'll explain how that affects you, the price that you charge.
Exactly. So if you're looking from a bookkeeping perspective at your profit and loss, for instance, if you run that report out of either your accountant gives it to you, or you run the report out of a piece of software such as Xero, MYOB, this is why it's so important to get to know where your costs come in, where your expenses come in, and your bottom line. So the cost of sales is something that you're going to purchase for the business, which you might on sell. For example, you might buy a piece of equipment that you sell onto a client and put a markup on, or you might use a contractor for a particular job. When it's a particular job specific, then you sell that job back to the client and you absorb the cost of the contractor, you put a markup on it, and you include that in your income that you sell onto the client. You've got to know what all these things mean, and the cost of sales are going to be listed separately on your profit and loss than your expenses. And there's a reason for that.
Yes.
Because expenses are operating expenses. What do you need to function? And I have talked about this in the show previously. It's very important just to look at just your operating expenses, not anything to do with a specific job, and actually add those all up and find out what it costs for you to run your business per hour.
Yeah.
What's that big equation we always talk on Small Biz Matters? Divide it by 48. Divided by 40. 48 weeks in a year, and 40 hours in a week. So you get that equation, and that's how much you've got to earn as a minimum to run your business. That's expenses.
Exactly.
Costs of sales is literally what does it cost for you to have a sale. So it might be your contractors, might be the couriers that you order, it might be a particular piece of equipment that you needed to get for that specific job to get it done.
So in the wellness industry, if you looked at a massage person, their cost of sale is their oil, their towels, some of them, they have the massage oil, but also the essential oil that gets put into it. So looking at things like that. I think for people, if they're confused, it's really if I didn't have that client today, would I have spent that money, or would I have used that
or that particular
thing?
Exactly.
So I think that's a really interesting way to do it. And then what small business owners don't do, and again, this is the big elephant in the room that nobody looks at, is okay, well, if I've charged $150 for my service, but let's use the example of a massage person. I've charged $150, but I have to take out my GST, and then I have to take out the towel cleaning, and then a little bit of oil and whatever else it is, and then giving themselves a salary out of that, so actually earning some money from that session, and then they go, oh, I didn't make any money.
or I'm in the negative.
Or yes, exactly, that's what I mean. And also tax. People don't think about, well, once I've got that money, I actually have to pay tax on that as well. And I think that all industries, but especially in the wellness industry, people aren't looking at the value of their cost of sale to help them feel justified in what it is that they charge.
So valuing yourself is a very important part of integrating that into your accounts, which is actually listing, when you set up your what's called the chart of accounts, which is all of your account numbers, for want of a better word, you must list the cost of sales separately to the overheads, which is your expenses.
So that you can understand how much it actually costs you to run that service.
Indeed.
And what that actually does is it helps you confidently say, I charge $150 an hour, because you know in your head that you can't charge any less because you have to be making money. So I think the people that go, well, I'm just going to charge $50 because that's what everybody else is charging, who haven't done that cost of sale exercise, and when they actually do it, realise that they're going backwards by $20 every time a client walks in their door. What's the point of being in business?
And talking of valuing your time as well, the sooner you can get your head around you being disassociated from the business and almost treating yourself like an employee, the better. The sooner you can say, for each job, I need to know that that's how much I'm going to be making.
Yes.
That's my wage. If you had a contractor coming in and you were a silent partner in your business, what would you pay that person?
Yes.
Well, be that person.
Yes.
Give yourself the wage. And then don't forget to take 30% out of it. What is your take-home pay for that job? What is your take-home pay for that particular massage therapy?
Yes.
So you've got the what you charge your client, take away your overheads, take away your cost of sales, your massage oil, what it costs for you to actually do that task, and then take away the GST.
Yep.
And then give yourself a wage.
Yep.
And then take away 30%. Yep. And then that's what you've made. And it might be $5.
Yes.
You might need to reassess how much you're paying for the massage oil, or you might need to reassess where you've got your clinic. Is it the best place to have it in terms of the rental expense that you've got there? So that's a way to think about investing in yourself and valuing your time and understanding what that level of investment means.
And, you know, if listeners can get this today and really go home or go back to their businesses and work that out, you know, if they do nothing else than really understand what their cost of sales were after today, you know, you are a step ahead majorly from any other small business owner who's not doing that and just picking a price based on what other people are charging.
And when is the best time, when you talk about valuing yourself, it means that you have to, well, what's the indexation at the moment? Is it sitting at about 2 or 3%?
I think so.
Right. So when you work for corporate land, you expect a 3% increase year on year, and you have KPIs that you have to try and achieve, and then you might look at getting a better increase or move up to the next level on the rung. Why don't we treat ourselves like that in business?
Yeah, because we don't.
No, because we don't value ourselves.
Exactly.
That's the hard conversation today.
Yes.
So when is the best time to put your prices up? And how do you even have that conversation with your clients?
Right. So for me, I like to recommend that you put your prices up at a certain time. So mostly it could be at the new financial year or the beginning of the calendar year. It makes it easy. But you don't have to. Really, at the end of the day, you could pick any month and say, you know, now that it's spring, I'm going to put my prices up. But what I do recommend is when you're putting your prices up is you give your current clients enough notice so that they know your prices are going to go up. And I also like that if you can offer your current clients maybe a deal that if they bought so many sessions or services before you put your price up, then they could, you know, use them in a certain amount of time, which is also a nice way for you to get some extra income in straight away. Like, I think that's a great way to do it as well.
Yeah, and make sure you keep on top of those debtors as well. They go, I'll buy 6 massage therapies in advance, but I'm not actually going to pay you until your prices go up. So you need to be quite strict with them to make sure they pay you in time.
So you would need to have the thing all prepaid.
Yes.
So I say to people, if you're going to have, and I probably wouldn't even go as far as 6 because it's too much to manage. And the other point that I like to say to my clients is, if you do that, so let's say that you said to a client, okay, but on the 1st of July, I'm going to put my prices up by $50. But if you buy before the end of June, 3 sessions, you can have it at the old price. And they pay you those 3 sessions in bulk up front, that you put that money into a separate account and pay yourself as that person comes. So you don't go and spend all that money and then have the resentment factor kick in when that person comes 3 times.
Yeah.
You know, you've already spent the money.
Yeah. So use that savings account that we talk about on Small Biz, about putting aside your GST, putting aside your PAYG tax, putting aside your GST, you know, the GST amounts and things like that.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Put that prepayment in there and then pay yourself each time that person comes is a really nice way to do it.
It's a really good way to do the accounts management, definitely. So is it an email that goes out? Or if you've got the time, do you call? What do you recommend? It sort of depends on the industry, doesn't it?
It just would depend. It could just be an offer that you put out to some really great clients. So it really does depend on the industry and who it is and what relationship they have and how many clients they have, how much it's going up by, all that kind of stuff. It's a really individual choice, that one.
Now, there's another point that you need to let you know about your customers going up, particularly if your clients are consumer-based, and that's if you're starting to implement GST.
Yes.
So once you get registered for GST, obviously your prices are going to go up by 10%. It's a very good idea to let people know in advance.
Yeah.
Again, perhaps make that offer if that's something that you wish to do. And we always say here, from a bookkeeping perspective, very good idea to implement GST on the first, preferably the beginning of a financial year, the 1st of July. That's the best time to do it in terms of your books.
Yeah.
1st of January is another good time, not as good as the 1st of July, and then the beginning of a quarter.
Perfect.
So don't do it some random date in the middle of February or something. It just makes bookkeeping and handling and everything else quite tricky.
So that would be the same with raising your prices regardless of GST. It's probably easier from a bookkeeping perspective if it's one of those.
Yeah, to do it at a quarter. And if you're using a piece of a software, don't forget to go into each of your items that you sell and change those items. Otherwise, you could be sending out invoices with the old price on it.
Ah, yes.
So drill down into each of those items, drill down each, if you've got GST that's being implemented, go into your chart of accounts and change all of the income codes into GST on income, change all the expense codes and cost of sale codes into GST on expenses, so that you're straight away doing it as part of the process.
Yeah.
So it's not just a matter of putting your prices up, it's a good idea to make sure that you eyeball your invoices for the next couple of months to make sure that you're not putting people on the price as well. So we might just go to a quick break now, and then when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about investment and valuing yourself, really.
Yeah, beautiful.
Welcome back to Small Biz Matters. We are in the room with Nikki White, and we're talking all about the things that we don't really like to talk about as businesses, do we? We don't. It's an elephant in the room. It's all about working on it, not in it, and valuing yourself, and big picture stuff that I guess if you're listening to today's program, they can tick the box of working on their business, can't they?
Absolutely.
As well, indeed. That's what we try and do here in Small Biz Matters. And we've been talking before the break about investment. We did talk a little bit about increasing prices, but let's go into that a little bit further. What would be a reason why you would increase your prices? Just because it's a new financial year and you're trying to make that as part of your habit to value yourself, for instance?
Yeah, absolutely. But we also talked about the cost of sale. So I think most of the time it would come back to people actually realising that they're not making money on each service that they're providing.
And the stuff that they use as cost of sales, that goes up.
Yes.
So your suppliers are putting their prices up, but
and if
you're
you
not.
don't, yeah, exactly.
That's crazy, yeah.
So I think that people are putting their prices up so that they actually are making some money and valuing themselves. And I think that also starts to come back to competition. So I see so many small business owners go out there and price themselves because that's what everybody else is
So they
charging.
jump on the websites of their competitors and they see what they're pricing and they pretend to ring up and be Margaret and say, what do you charge?
Yes.
on the phone.
Yes. And I have to say that is so last year, or so 10 years ago. You know, I just think when you started a business 10 years ago, the very first thing you did was do a competitive analysis. And you went out there, exactly what you just said. You ring people up, you try and find what they're charging, and then you base your whole structure of your business around being better, you know, offering something cheaper. What a waste of energy to focus out there on what other people are doing.
That's the first step to devaluing yourself, really.
Absolutely.
Comparing yourself to someone else.
So my biggest thing is saying to people, run your own race. Just worry about what you provide. And I think the other thing that small business people forget, that it's not about what the service that you provide or the product you provide. It's about the relationship that you have with your client or your customer.
Yeah, people don't engage with you because they want to deal with a multinational who's going to give them some generic crappy service in an overseas call centre. They engage with you because you're local, you're vibrant, you're unique.
Yes.
And you offer a unique set of circumstances and you're you.
Yes.
Don't try and be someone you're not.
No.
Don't say, I've got 5 staff and I've got a call centre and press 1 for this, press 2 for that. What a load of bollocks.
It's what people don't want.
Yeah.
So they're coming to you for you to be you. And
Yes.
and even if you and the person next to you are offering exactly the same service, and we've been talking about massage therapists, so let's just say we've got 2 remedial massage people. You know, who are you going to go to? You're going to go to the one person that really resonates with you. The person that you've been to their website and you go, yes, this, and you've read the About Me page. And I think people forget that the About Me page is the second most read page of a website.
Really?
Absolutely. Because they want connection.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what service you're providing. I mean, it does, because people are looking for a massage therapist. But when it gets down to it, it's like, who am I going to go to? And I'm going to go to you because I resonate with you and you appeal to me. Or in the case of the wellness industry, that you as the practitioner have been through the same circumstances that I've been through, and I know that you can relate to me, and I'm going to go to you.
Because even if people are referred in from someone else, that's often not enough. They still want to make that own personal connection with that person.
Exactly.
They've got to jump on the website or learn more about that person first before they make the call.
Exactly. So if you're a small business owner and you're not running your own race and you're so worried about your competition and what they're doing, even if you went and stole 20 clients from your competition because you were cheaper, they're probably not going to be your ideal client anyway because they're their ideal client. So it's so much better to just go, I'm going to be me, I'm going to be fantastic at what I do. And I think that's really important to state too.
But you need a ballpark figure when you're talking about competitiveness and researching what's appropriate for the cost that you charge your clients. You do kind of have to have an idea.
Sure. But
don't
also
peg yourself against your competition.
But don't peg yourself against the competition, and don't ever try and be the cheapest. So let's keep that massage example. And the lady that I go to, she charges $210 for an hour and a half massage. It is the best massage you will ever have in your life. Could I compare that to the little Chinese people in the department store, not the department stores, in those big shopping centres, you know, where you go in and you just go behind a curtain and they squish your neck and it's probably, $30? It's not even a comparison. You know, I lie on this amazing bed and I have this unique experience with this amazingly talented massage therapist.
Experienced, someone you've connected with.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, that $210 compared to the $30 is a no-brainer.
But that's not to say that $30 isn't going to resonate with some people.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's what they're looking for, and that's the connection that they make in terms of a financial connection.
Exactly.
But let's face it, most people are not engaging with small business because they want something cheap or generic or anything like that, and they're not the clients that you want anyway.
No,
you don't want people who are just coming to you for a flash in the pan. That's why I'm not a big fan of those deal things.
Yes,
I don't quite know how they work. How do you get repeat customers when you're just putting a deal on there and you're really just getting the customers who are willing to pay that but would never be willing to pay
what you charge anyway? Yeah. And people do it to build their database, but I'm totally the same as you. I'm thinking, what's the point? So what? You've just got 50 people on your database, but they're 50 people who are not your ideal target audience. They aren't resonating with you, and all they were doing was looking for a cheap deal. So what a waste of money and time.
So
sorry,
to carry
on people.
Yes, sorry, coupon people. You're not our favourite people today. So talking in general about investment, we've talked about the importance of investing in yourself and really valuing yourself, not pegging yourself against the competition, understanding your cost of sales.
Absolutely.
Understanding the difference between what a cost of sale is and what your overheads expenses are, and really making sure you distinguish between those in that really expensive accounting program that you forked out all that money for, or making sure that your bookkeepers ask the right questions as well.
Yeah.
Has your bookkeeper actually said, okay, which of these things are cost of sales? Don't let them make assumptions. You're the one that knows your business. Get to know your accounts, get to know how they're working, and work with the bookkeeper so they can give you the best service as well. Also, one other thing we should mention as well in terms of investment, if you're talking just purely money, if you're talking purely investing in capital, make sure that you understand all of your other debts before setting up either a new payment plan for this particular piece of capital, or if you're thinking to yourself, hey, look at that bank balance, it's really high. What a silly thing to look at when you're looking at your accounts, by the way. I know what I'll do. I'll go out and buy a $10,000 piece of equipment up front. And you haven't gone, whoops, that's right, it's the end of the quarter and I'm going to have a BAS bill in about 5 days. And what was my tax return bill from last financial year? So you do need to sit down before making that sort of capital investment and work out where it sits in your financial cycle, if you will.
And also investing in capital when you need it, not just because.
Not just because somebody is some fandangled. You certainly don't sit there and watch late night television and watch the shopping channel to buy capital pieces for your business. So why would you have that knee-jerk reaction when you're buying something?
Exactly.
Yeah, and making sure that whatever it is that is helping to grow, it's helping to grow that client base, or giving you a new skill, or giving you a new piece of equipment. You can then broaden your clients.
So that you're getting a return on that investment, which is how we started the program.
Indeed. Look, thanks for coming on the show today, Nikki. Now, next week we've got a great show. We're going to be talking all about stepping out of your comfort zone.
Oh, this is so important for small business owners.
And we've touched on a little bit in the last few weeks. So we're up to the show 4 will be next week on our series of programs all about essential key elements. Of course, if you've missed today's program, you can jump onto the Boyd Office Management Services blogs and podcast page. We've also got the brand brand new Small Biz Matters website up and running, which you can check out as well. And feel free to check out Nikki White from My Wellness Business Online too.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on the show, Nikki.
Bye.